Dear Evan Hansen live stream. Here we are, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to our second episode of this entertainment talk show, Dishing with David. We are here today to talk about all things entertainment, whether that's movies, whether that's television, whether that's theater, anything that's entertaining, we're here to talk about. And as you might see to my right, we're here with a very special guest, Miss Faith Countryman. Faith, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
We're also joined by a Mr. Benji. Benji is here with us.
He's in a sweater.
It's getting a little chilly for sweet Benny
Chihuahua.
boy. So if we all want a dog opinion, we've got that covered here today. I just want to say right off the top, once again, if you have a comment or question you want on the show to be addressed, 100% guaranteed, you go to, it's in the description box, www.streamelements.com/DavidJeffrey/tip. This will guarantee your comment or question gets on the show. If not, we can still use the live questions, which we will get to in the second part of the show. The first part of the show is off the top, where we take random things that I want to talk about and talk about them. The first of which, I guess I should say off the top, from anyone who doesn't know me, I play Connor Murphy in Jeffery Hansen on Broadway. I'm not just a strange random person talking to you. I like to think that at least in one of the three elements I have some knowledge, but outside of theater I am a huge movie fan and a huge television fan, and hopefully we can build some community here, get to know one another in the chat, and talk about some fun things today. The first thing I feel like we should talk about, because it was big news and it's not one of the main topics, is the Dear Evan Hansen movie cast is more or less all out there. We know the cast now. For anyone who didn't hear, the last remaining member was announced yesterday as Julianne Moore will be playing Heidi Hansen. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, Amy Adams as Cynthia. That's crazy. I don't know what everyone thinks of that, but I was pretty pumped to hear about that because both of those actresses are phenomenal. What do you think of that announcement?
Actually didn't see it, but I'm hearing it now. That's pretty cool.
Breaking news for Faith here. Cynthia and Heidi are cast.
That
Julianne Moore and Amy
crazy.
Adams. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, Amy Adams, fun fact here, has been nominated for, I don't know the exact number, 5, 6 Academy Awards and never won.
Really?
Never won. I believe Julianne Moore has won, though. I think. Here I am just dropping facts. I could be dead wrong, but very excited about that. Obviously, Ben Platt. I'm blanking on the actor's name, but the friend from Atypical is playing Jared.
Oh.
Very excited about that. He's very funny, so it should be a great cast. I'm very excited. Hopefully, everyone watching this, you know, if you're unfamiliar with Jeffery Hansen, it's a musical that I'm in, but it's becoming a movie, and it should be pretty good. Ben Platt will star in it. He originated the role in the musical. Broadway, he won a Tony for it. So myself and everyone in the cast were all very excited, but what do you guys think of this? Are you for this cast? Are you someone who maybe thought they should have gone a different way, a different direction? Maybe, you know, cast somebody who's currently in the Broadway show? It's okay. That's me. That was me. I'm the one who thought that it should have been me, but that's fine. We're all very happy for Colton. But if you disagree, leave a comment. Let me know if you are somebody who thinks that they should have gone a different way. There's a lot of controversy surrounding Evan Hansen, right? A lot of people thinking they should have gone with somebody else, but I personally think that it should have been.
You should play every role.
Who said that?
Zoe.
Thank you, Zoe. I appreciate that. Great name, by the way. Very apropos. The next thing I want to address is this one right here. Faith, not Benji. She gave Ghost a listen yesterday, and she was unfamiliar with Ghost prior, and she listened to Ghost. And I'm a huge Ghost fan. I saw it on Broadway, fell in love. I know it doesn't have like the biggest following, but I am a huge fan of Ghost, and got her to listen to it. I think she was a fan. Were you a fan? What did you think about Ghost?
I thought it was really good. I cried a lot, and my eyes are kind of puffy today because I cried because of it, but it's so good.
If you've not obviously seen the movie Ghost, I recommend seeing the movie. I believe it's a really good movie. I think it either came out in 1990 or 1991, so it's older for sure, but really good movie. Whoopi Goldberg won an Oscar for a performance in it, but the musical is just as good. If you're somebody out there who likes musicals, or you know what, even if you don't like musicals, but you like the movie Ghost, I would recommend checking it out because the stage adaptation does a lot of the same things that the movie does insofar as the magic part of it, the illusions.
Yeah, it's so cool to see how they see it.
So I highly recommend checking out Ghost the Musical. What was your favorite song in that musical? Do you have one?
I don't know yet.
She doesn't know. She's got to let it fester. My favorite is With You.
I knew that one before. That was the one song I knew from it.
Huge. Another hugely insane song is the one right before intermission. Suspend My Disbelief, I Had a Life. That trio, I mean, I know the ensemble comes in at the end, but it's essentially like more or less, let's call it a trio. Oh, man. Like those powerful notes are so good. Anyway, huge fan of Ghost. If you are unfamiliar with Ghost, please give it a listen. The cast recording is available. So good. Highly recommend. Second last thing off the top here is Faith mentioned to me the other day that she wanted to watch a Harry Potter movie. And it got me to think, I don't think we've ever talked about Harry Potter, so I wanted to bring up Harry Potter. What's everyone's opinions on Harry Potter? More so the movies and the books. I think the books are pretty universally loved. So more so the movies. I'm going to start with this one over here. Out of the, I guess, 8 movies that there were, what was your favorite movie?
Movies?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the 4th one, The Goblet of Fire.
Interesting. Okay, see, my favorite movie was the very last one, Deathly Hallows Part 2.
That's my favorite book.
Great book. Deathly Hallows book was amazing, although Half-Blood Prince was also super good.
I also really liked the Chamber of Secrets movie.
I think my favorite movie, I'm going to stick with my favorite movie was Deathly Hallows Part 2. Favorite book, I don't know. The last 2 were so good, in my opinion. But I think, the movies, here's the thing. I am not what they call a Potterhead. I like them. I think the movies are good. If they're on, I will certainly watch them. But I'm not crazy about Harry Potter like a lot of people seem to be. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't ask the question that everyone's probably just dying to know right now. What house do you belong to?
Oh, I wish you didn't ask me that because I don't remember.
She doesn't remember. Okay, ugh. I remember. I belong to the House of Ravenclaw. So I'm a Ravenclaw, but
a Gryffindor.
I identify as a Gryffindor. I think, obviously, the website messed up somehow.
David is a Slytherin.
No, there's no way.
Clearly
I'm Gryffindor. Obviously, if they were writing the books today, it would be called David Jeffrey, and it would be centered around me. Personally, that's just what I think. My opinion, it's subjective. Remember, everyone, entertainment opinions are subjective. So you can't tell someone that they're wrong.
You're wrong.
No, so you can't do that. I'm trying to tell everyone that you can't do that.
My opinion is you're wrong about your opinion.
My opinion is no more or less valid than yours.
Okay.
And that's the motto of the day. But I'm curious what everyone else's favorite Harry Potter movies were. I'm thinking about giving them a rewatch because it's been a minute since I've seen them. I like them. I'm not crazy about them, but I'm curious if I rewatched them today, if my opinion would change on the matter. I prefer the books to the movies, though I think that's a common refrain for most adaptations that start as a book. But I'm curious. I don't know if everyone has a favorite movie of the Harry Potter franchise. I'd be really curious to know what the general consensus is on what is the best one and what is the worst one. I really struggled getting through the 5th book, The Order of the Phoenix. It was long.
Like the movie either, though.
I honestly don't remember much about the movie. I remember Sirius Black was important, right?
Yeah, the end bit of the movie was good, but all of Umbridge was really nice.
Oh, I hate Umbridge. Great actress. Wasn't crazy about that character though. How do we feel about? Okay, I guess I should say spoilers for Harry Potter, but I'm sure everyone knows. How do we feel about the death of Dobby?
That was depressing.
I agree. Like, really sad, right? He died, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got that right. It's been a hot minute since I watched, but that was effective to me. I remember being like quite emotional and moved by that part. But outside of that, was there any like emotional part? Like, what was the most emotional part of the
Bendy? He's growling at the ghost.
Speaking of ghosts, but what was your most emotional part in Harry Potter? Like, do we have one? Is there another emotional?
I don't know.
part?
Oh, I remember I
Fred,
cried.
George?
I cried in the 4th one after Cedric Diggory.
Not me.
It was just the first time I watched it. I remember crying, and it was like.
Although I'm very excited for him to play Batman.
Not that Benji doesn't like you. I think my house is haunted.
Yeah, he's growling at nothing currently. Love
staring.
it. You love to see it. But anyway, yeah. So in Harry Potter world, if I'm somebody who's trying to become more of a fan, if there's a specific moment that you guys like in that franchise, whether it's in the books or the movies, I don't really care. But I would love to reminisce about the sad moments. I thought the Fred George thing was quite sad. But outside of that, besides Dobby, I'm struggling. Oh, how could I forget Snape? How could I forget that? Of course, blank there. That was really, really sad. Dumbledore wasn't as sad to me. It was shocking, but it wasn't as sad. All right, and the last thing I want to say off the top, I thought maybe every so often I will address a frequently asked question, and we get this every single time we go live. So I'm going to do one of these every live so that we don't have to address it. And that is inevitably, what's your favorite Dear Evan Hansen song? So we'll start with you. What's your favorite Dear Evan Hansen song?
If I Could Tell Her.
If I Could Tell Her. It's a great song. Mine, Words Fail. Although I always say this, the Evan part in Good For You is so good. A very close second. But there you go. There you have it. So now when we get to live questions, we don't have to answer that one. We don't have to talk about the favorite songs because it comes up every single time. And there we have it. All right. So now we have moved on to the main topic part of the show. How do you get a main topic on the show? Well, see, it's really easy. You leave a comment on the previous video or on this video. It won't matter, but you comment on a video. If there aren't enough comments on the video, then I have to go into my TikTok and look through TikTok comments. It's a lot easier for me. If you want a main topic to be addressed, just leave a comment, and then I will read it for the next show, probably, maybe, depending on how many we get. With that being said, let's go to the first one. And our first question/comment topic that we have is from Mikey187. And Mikey writes, what are your thoughts on the passing of Chadwick Boseman? Should the MCU recast? And that's a great question and something I think we should talk about. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention the sadness that was the passing of Chadwick Boseman, which, I mean, I think for the most part, we were all really caught off guard because nobody really knew that he had cancer. I remember there were images that came out of him looking like significantly skinnier, and there was speculation of he was sick or what was going on. But I don't know. I was really caught off guard when I read that he had died. Do you remember any thoughts when you read that he had died?
No.
Okay. Well,
unfortunately, I really didn't pay attention. I don't watch many movies or anything, so I actually didn't know who that was.
Oh,
I know
Black
now.
Panther.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know now, and that's sad. But
yeah, I was really caught off guard because I just didn't what was he, 46, 43? He was in his 40s, and he had cancer, which is obviously sad anytime anybody's cancer, but he didn't tell anyone. And so I feel like, I guess we as viewers didn't really get a chance to say goodbye or prepare to say goodbye or get any kind of closure. I'm obviously very glad that he finished his run in Endgame, and that story kind of somewhat concluded, though Black Panther 2 had been announced, and I think they'd already started writing it. So not sure how that'll be addressed. But then the second part of Mikey's question there is, should they recast? So I'll ask you that first. Somebody who passes away in the middle of their tenure of being a character, do you think it's more honorable to recast them and just carry on what they had started? Or do you think it's better to be no, we're just going to stop using this character altogether?
I think it depends on the actor personally. If it were totally all morals, and if that was his life and everything that he wanted, then yeah, I would say recast it. But if it was I don't know, I think it depends on what everyone thinks he would have wanted. But I don't really have a say because I didn't really know who he was.
See, I'm of the belief that there are no wrong answers here, because no matter what they do, I think it's going to upset people. I think if you recast, there were going to be people who are like, oh, you shouldn't recast. And if you just kind of stop using the character, I think there'll be people who are upset because his character, T'Challa, was very representational for a lot of people of color who felt like they were seeing themselves represented in a superhero, especially young people of color, to have a superhero, somebody who represents what they look like on screen. Not to say if they stopped using him, there wouldn't be somebody else who was somebody of color, but I think that character of T'Challa spoke to a lot of people. And I don't know, if I had to make the decision, if someone called me and said it's up to me to decide, I would probably say, I think Chadwick Boseman would want his character to continue on. I think that's what he would want. I absolutely don't know that, but I think he would, because you work really hard to create something, and I think he would want that to carry on. So I would say recast, but really there's no wrong answer because there is no right answer, and I think people will be upset no matter what. But anyway, it's a great question, and one that I think we can all have our 2 cents about, but we'll have to just wait and see what they do. But if you're super opinionated one way or another, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thank you for the question, though, Mikey. Our second main topic comes into us from Fishcracker89, who writes, in your opinion, what is the best male performance in a film of all time? And that is a very difficult question to answer because it implies that I know all of the male performances in film of all time, which I do not.
What's your opinion?
It is my opinion. So it's a great question. The one that comes to mind is not my favorite actor, not my favorite movie, but well, anything that Daniel Day-Lewis does. I mean, him and Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood was, I mean, something else. He won the Oscar for that. That's the one that first comes to mind. Russell Crowe in Gladiator comes to mind. Obviously, my favorite actor is Tom Hanks, so I'd probably have to say Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump. Gosh, I mean, does anything come to your mind?
See, I don't really watch a lot of movies.
That's okay.
I don't know. I don't have any specifics, but I would say like any movie where there's like a super emotional scene and they have to act all emotional and like yelly and or I don't know.
So no examples of that?
That's what I just said. No.
Okay.
I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't know. Adam Driver and Marriage Story.
Oh, Adam Driver's phenomenal in Marriage Story. That's a great one. Actually, there's a lot of people who say that Adam Driver could/should have won the Oscar over Joaquin Phoenix. It's a great debate because I mean Joaquin Phoenix was amazing as Joker, but I mean Adam Driver in Marriage Story. There are 2 scenes in Marriage Story that really got me. One's that we all have the same one. If you've seen Marriage Story, we're all gonna say the same thing. Obviously, the big fight scene with the I wish you were dead. That that thing when his tears in his eyes and his voice breaks. But also the end when he's reading spoilers. That's not really spoilers. He reads this letter at the end, and he gets choked up reading this letter, and that almost got me more. It's just seeing a man struggle because we've all been there, So I really struggle watching that because I'm like, oh man, I've been there. It's tough, but I mean, so but again, I would probably go to Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood. The other one. Oh, what's his name? Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. That one is really good too. If you are into darker movies, that one was phenomenal. Wow. I actually thought about that one for a long time after I saw it. I mean, any Tom Hanks movie too. Captain Phillips, Castaway. The movie's not as good, but like Tom Hanks in The Terminal is fantastic.
Also, I don't remember his name, but you probably know the guy in Primal Fear, the teenager.
Oh yeah. Edward Norton.
Yeah,
Edward Norton.
Him in Primal Fear.
Very good performance. Phenomenal performance. Russell Crowe in Gladiator too. If you've not seen Gladiator, you should watch Gladiator. Very good. Won Best Picture as well. But those are some of mine. I don't know. What do you guys think? If if there's a performance in a movie of a male who speaks to you, let me know in a comment. And especially because I'm sort of in this movie kick right now where I'm trying to watch a lot of movies. I'm trying to get 100 at the end of the year. And if you have a performance that really stood out to you and it's a movie I've not seen, I would love to watch it. So please let me know what you think and we can discuss it. I appreciate that, whoever said that. But
I was also in Newsies. I played a boy, so
it's
maybe it counts.
film though, guys. Performances in a movie. But thank you for the question. And we'll move on to topic number 3 now. I love tacos a lot, writes. How can I increase my vocal range? A great question. So vocally, we all have voice types, right? So like I would classify myself as a tenor. Faith would classify herself as
alto, mezzo, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. But the fact is, it's a certain note to note typical range of if this is where your comfort zone is, this is your voice type, yada yada. So your top notes and your bottom notes are going to be different for everyone. So let's say you're a bass. if you're a bass, and you want to increase your range, don't think that like, oh, I want to increase my range to become a tenor. Like that's, I won't say impossible, but highly unlikely / very rare. Not impossible, but that's not what the goal should be, right? Like the goal should be whatever your top notes are, your top notes being what you can sing before you got to flip into your head voice. If you want to increase that, that's what we're going to focus on. So the way that I do it might be different than how she does it. And we'll talk about our two methods. I should disclaimer this by saying I'm not a vocal coach. So if you're looking for like a legitimate, educational, safe way, it might be different than what I'm about to tell you. But this is how I do it. I love tacos a lot. Great name, by the way. I found myself when I was a little bit younger topping out at a G, which right now in my current form is not high at all. So proof it can be done. So first of all, don't give up hope. It can be done. How I managed this was, I think the first song that I remember singing that had a G that I struggled with was in Thoroughly Modern Millie, which is a musical that won Best Musical. And the song was called What Do I Need with Love? And it just goes high at the end. Now I got it back. It's just G at the end. It's there. It floats. It's nice. And I would try to hit it and I just couldn't. I would flip to falsetto to hit it. And I didn't understand at the time that flipping to falsetto was like not audibly impressive. And it's not what the audience wants, particularly if you like know the song, you're waiting for that big note and then someone flips. It's like, okay. Like I always joke about On My Own, a world that's full of happiness that I have never known. Like, people want, if you're going to belt everything, the last note should be belted too. Anyway, how did I deal with this? I sang the song and didn't flip. And then you're all thinking, but you just said you couldn't hit the note. Exactly. I would go for it and not hit the note. But by doing that, it was like strengthening and teaching my voice to go that high. So I would, no, I got it back. I'd be like, oh, it's super flat. Or bah, I'd have a voice crack. But I would do it like every day. And eventually I would train my vocal cords, that, the muscles in there, to hit the note. And the more I did it, the easier it became. And then I noticed myself less and less struggling. And what used to be very flat was now bang on the money. And then I struggled with A's. But then I was like, oh my God, I can hit G's no problem. Now A's are an issue. So then I would work on A's. And then guess what? A's aren't an issue anymore. Then it became B's. So you start chiseling away. And sometimes it does take a while and you will eventually top out. Like if you're like a tenor like me, this is not me saying, oh, a B is just as easy as a G. Maybe if you're Freddie Mercury or Adam Lambert or something. But for the vast, vast, vast majority of us, no, like a B is significantly harder than a G. I'm not saying you can easily train yourself to do that, but you can chisel away at it for sure. I do it by just singing high songs over and over again and having the voice cracks, having the flatness, having the strain. Usually I would do this in my room, in the shower, in the garage, wherever, because so no one can hear you. Or if your parents hear you, it's like, whatever, it's just your parents. But that's what I would probably recommend. I don't know, Faith, do you have any recommendations to how you would increase your vocal range?
Mine's probably the same. There's a video of me singing On My Own where I had to flip, so that's offensive. But no, mine's probably the same. I would probably just sing it in my car though. Like that's my go-to. I crank up the music and just sing. But even like I was in Rent and had to sing We're Okay, and the last note I was like, I don't think I could sing that. And then I was just after like practicing, I was able to sing it without even an issue. Like it wasn't even a thought or a concern anymore. It's just singing it. It's just like practicing.
Yeah, so I think if you're somebody who is looking to increase your range, whether you're, again, any kind of voice type, whatever gender you identify as, it really won't matter. Just sing as high as you can or as low as you can. Again, I just made a TikTok about this. Going lower is a bit different because it does kind of just become like, oh, I can't really train myself any lower than this. So this is going to be more so for high notes than low notes. Maybe you can do that with low notes, but like we're talking maybe like half a step down, not much more than that. But for high notes, yeah, find a song that, has a note that's like, let's say one above what you can do, and don't flip. Force yourself to go for it. Even though I know in your head, if you're like on autopilot, you're going to flip because that's what your body wants to do. Now, in full like vocal health, because I hear vocal coaches everywhere screaming at me right now, don't do it over and over till your voice is sore and you're going to give yourself nodes. Just do it a couple times every day, and then you'll teach yourself, and it'll become easier over time. This isn't an overnight fix. This is a work at it, and you'll see the results.
And even when you have it, though, I think keep practicing, because I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes struggle between, am I singing or am I yelling? And sometimes it's so much easier to yell the note. So just once you have it, keep practicing it. Just make sure you're singing and not being like, ah.
Yeah, but good luck, and at the end of the day, there's great videos on YouTube that you can watch for that kind of thing. And whatever voice type you are, you type in increasing your vocal range, alto, soprano, tenor, bass, baritone, mezzo, won't matter. There'll be lots of videos. Or if all else fails, once you're allowed, wherever city you're in with COVID, look for a vocal coach / teacher / whatever. You could probably do it online too if you want, but that's my recommendation. But good luck. Thank you for the question / statement. Really appreciate it.
Delilah thinks Benji is cute.
He is cute. Our fourth main topic today gets sent to us by Thomas G3. And Thomas writes, what are your thoughts on reality television? Do you have any favorites? And that's a great question. Yeah, I don't mind reality television. I acknowledge that I don't think it's as legitimate as it tries to make it seem. I'm not saying it's all scripted, but I certainly think some of it is fabricated or pre-planned. And what I mean by that is like America's Got Talent. I quite enjoy America's Got Talent. I think it's a good show. But I think, it's actually, they've said, it's come out that if you put a video up on YouTube of you doing something weird, they'll reach out and ask you to come be on the show, to come audition. And if you're doing something weird, it's well, we know they're going to get a no, but we just want it because it's funny and on the show and for it. So it's always a show before it is a competition. It's still television. So I accept that. And once I accept that and know it, I'm okay with it. It bugs me when people think it's totally legitimate. And I don't know. I struggle with whether or not I should tell the story. I won't. Okay, I will, but I'll keep it anonymous. There's somebody in the Dear Evan Hansen cast who has gone on a reality show and has told me a lot of what does and doesn't happen, and paints the picture of it not being as totally legitimate as it makes it seem. So I'm not against it. I quite enjoy some of it. I loved America's Got Talent. Way back in the day, I really liked American Idol. Here in Canada, we also like Canadian Idol, which I also really liked. I can't think of other ones off the top of my head. I guess Survivor I watched one season of. That was okay. A lot of people love Big Brother. I'm not really into Big Brother. Do you watch any reality television?
I actually don't really watch a lot of TV in general, so nope.
Do you guys watch reality television? If you do, and there's something you like, let me know in a comment below. But those are my thoughts on it. But thank you for the question. I do appreciate it. And our last main topic today gets submitted to us by Lolly
Lion.
Decimal period dot whatever you want to say, Lolly.Lion Girl, who writes, what is your favorite thing about living in Canada? How does it compare to the US? Best place to perform? ? Great question. I love living in Canada. Canada's my home, and even when I'm in the United States, I consider Canada my home. I love the United States as well, don't get me wrong, but Canada's my home. So if I had to choose, gun to my head, you can only live in one country, I'm going to pick Canada just because it's my home. That's no shade on the US. It's my home. As I'm sure any of you who are American would also pick the United States versus any other country because it's your home. Not all of you, of course. I'm sure some people don't like it there, but the vast majority will. So that's where I stand on that. As far as performing goes, there's not really much of a difference. The weirdest thing that I ever saw for performing wise was actually when this one came to see me. I was on the national tour of Dear Evan Hansen, and we were in Louisville, Kentucky, or as locals call it, Louisville, Kentucky. And I've never seen an auditorium like this. We're on stage, and when you're on tour, the first thing you do is you on Monday, because we didn't perform on Mondays, we would go to the venue, and we had these trunks that has all our stuff in it, and we basically just find out where our station is, look at the stage, find out what the differences are venue to venue, how it's going to affect the traffic backstage, all that jazz. And this day we get on the stage and I'm looking out, and the first time I've ever seen this, the orchestra seating was just one section. There wasn't like a hallway that divided like left from right. It was literally just a clump of seats, which from an actor's point of view is really cool to see because it makes it look like there's so much more people. But from an audience perspective, it'd be weird. Like if you're in the middle and you have to use the bathroom, you'd have to be like, excuse me, for like 30 people because there's no middle hallway. You have to go to the far extreme side to leave. So that would be very horribly uncomfortable if you're an audience member, I think. But I'd never seen that before. I'm not going to say nothing like that exists in Canada because I've not seen every single theater in Canada. But as far as I know, that was the biggest, like, where am I? Wake up call, because I've never seen anything like that in Canada. The jokes, there are certainly jokes that work better in the United States / worse in Canada and vice versa. I mean, we could get into them, but then we're basically just doing a script analysis, Jaron Hansen. So I won't do that. But certain jokes work better in different countries. You have to change lines sometimes. Audience reaction and responses can be quite different. I find the stage door experience is a lot better in the States. The stage door in Canada isn't really a thing. Like, people are more irrelevant about it. It's not as big. A lot of the time people don't know where the stage door is or what the stage door is. Whereas in the States, it's like it's a bigger thing, a bigger deal. But don't get me wrong. I still love the stage door in Canada, but anywhere I went in the States was like way cooler and better than in Canada. Although I've only performed in Toronto with Jeffery Hansen. I wasn't part of the Canadian tour. But it was still phenomenal, a very cool experience. In countries in general, I've said this before, but in Canada, we don't tend to politicize things as much as the United States. I find, like, we talk about the masks a lot. Like, the masks have seemingly become such a political statement. I don't really know why. Again, I'm not generalizing, but from an outsider's perspective, an ignorant Canadian, it looks like red states will be against masks and blue states will be for masks. And there's like tension and anger with these two groups. Personally, I don't know why you wouldn't wear a mask, but if you're somebody who's against it, that's your call. But I just don't get why the two groups hate each other. Here in Canada, there certainly will be people who don't want to wear a mask, but they won't hate on people who do. So that kind of thing, like the political issues, that gets a bit much. I think you guys in the States have cooler cities. I don't know. What do you think about Canada versus the United States?
Well, I've never lived in the United States. I was visiting, but I don't think I would want to live there permanently just because of all the political stuff. And the only states that I've really been to are all big and scary. And so I feel like as a small little girl child that people would try to take me.
I protect you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But yeah, I love the United States. I'm very happy to visit. I've seen so many great cities in your guys' country because of the tour, and I literally loved there was not one city I went to that I was like, okay, done with this. You guys have so many cool cities, and I mean, we have cool cities in Canada too, but not near as many. So.
Oh God. He fell on his food dish.
Oh God!
He didn't fall. He jumped.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of both countries, and if you have an opportunity to visit Canada and you haven't, I do recommend it. And for fellow Canadians, if you have an opportunity to go down to the States, obviously I recommend it. If there is a city in either country that you're passionate about that you think people should go visit, please let me know in the comment below. I'll say off the top of my head, as an Albertan, I highly recommend the Banff area of Alberta. Very, very beautiful, serene. If you like the scenic things in your travels, that's sort of the area of Canada that I would recommend. You got the blue water, the trees, the mountains. It's very picturesque. Obviously, your metropolitan areas, Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, these are all great cities too. But I don't know. Where's your favorite place in Canada that you'd recommend?
I don't know, Edmonton.
Edmonton's a great mall.
Yeah, that's why. I don't know. I want to go to Banff and like Canmore in that area. I've just never been, so I shouldn't say like go, but it looks really pretty and I want to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of like great places here, but we have significantly less people than the United States. So in the United States, though, God, like the list of cities that I would recommend or I still want to go to that I've never been is significantly larger than in Canada. And I think that speaks to, granted, you guys have like, what, 330 million plus people, and we have 35 million people. So it's different. We're not cold all the time. And certainly you guys have cold cities too, but like California, Nevada, Arizona, all, like that chunk that stays warm all year round is enticing. We have a lot of snowbirds that fly down in the winter to the United States just to escape the cold. Big thing. I mean, it probably happens in Florida too, I would say. But I don't know. What's your guys' favorite state? I'm really curious what an American's favorite state is that isn't the state that you live in or were born in. Because obviously you'll have like some home bias. But if you've traveled to a state that is not your home state, what was your favorite? I know a lot of theater people are going to say New York just because of Broadway.
I like New York.
New York's great. I really like California. I feel like that's a stereotypical answer. Florida, because everyone likes California.
Oh.
Like all these big cities, it's warm. One. Yeah. Texas. Texas is funny because it gets a bad rep sometimes. And you know, I loved the 4 cities I went to in Texas. So I'd be really eager to go there again sometime. But if you're passionate about a city one way or another or a certain state, let me know because I would love to expand my travel someday. But with that down, we've concluded our main topics. We still have just under an hour to go here. So we're going to spend the rest of the time addressing some live questions and interacting with you guys. The first thing I want to address is our live link, which is, again, the thing that you can send in a actual question or a comment and be guaranteed to have it addressed on the show. And that is streamelements.com/DavidJeffery/tip. And if you submit something during the show, and let's say it's at the end of this, it will be addressed on the next week's show. With that down, first thing that I'm going to ask actually was from Anonymous. And Anonymous asked the best way to handle/deal with a breakup. And we're going to take a drink for this one. This is a great question, Anonymous. And I thank you for writing this in because this gives me an opportunity to state that prior to joining Dear Evan Hansen, I was trying to become a marriage counselor. I didn't at all, but that was what my intention was. So I have a keen interest in this. And I think this is a great day for this question because obviously Faith is here with me. We can offer some unique perspective on this with a male opinion, a female opinion, and both sides of ending relationships. So I'll speak to somebody who was broken up with, and I think if she's cool with it, she can speak to you guys or as someone who has broken up with someone. So both sides of this can be addressed. Do you want me to go first or want me to go first?
Okay,
I'll go first. I'll talk longer probably. So if you are someone who has been broken up with, I think the first thing to acknowledge is that the majority of us sympathize and have been there. And we know that like gut feeling you have of you can't eat, you can't sleep. Just nothing makes sense. Everything's kind of bleak and bland. And it's always a struggle, and I've been there. And I think I've had a few relationships, but the last one was a pretty significant one. And when it ended, I was very sad. And it took me a long time to discover how to be okay and how to accept things and to move on. And I think it's important to first acknowledge that it's not something that just happens overnight. Like cut yourself some slack if you're struggling with it. Allow yourself to be sad. But also, and this is the most important thing, your friends or people you care about are so important. I found it sucks to be alone because that whole process of you talk to somebody every day, you see them all the time, they're on your phone, they're texting you, and then everything stops. to fill that void, hanging out with friends or people that you care about is so helpful. So I would recommend that. But also just to know that that inner voice that you have of like, I'll never find this again, that's untrue. And it's natural to think and feel that way, but just know like it does. It's very cliche, but it does get better. I've been there. I'm sure a lot of people watching this or commenting right now live, or if you're watching this after the fact, you've been there. It's a very common thing that we go through. And even though it sucks, and it does suck, and I'm not taking it away from that, and I don't want to feel like, oh, yes, I've been there. Huh, you don't know anything yet. No, like it sucks. No matter what age you are, it sucks. But I'll tell you what my experience was with this. I love someone very much, and when that relationship ended, it took me a while to be hit with what I've always referred to as a wave of maturity. And that was, I just came to the conclusion that why would you want to be with somebody who clearly doesn't want to be with you? And I struggle with it because for the longest time, I tried to convince her to not do it, like not go through with the breakup because it would make me unhappy. But I was never thinking about how it was making her feel staying in the relationship. And I just woke up this one day, I was on a cruise, and I woke up and it just kind of hit me like, shouldn't I be with somebody who like knows that they want to be with me? Like you do find that person. Even when you're in the moment of thinking like, I don't have that person anymore, it's hard to just be okay with being alone. But I just realized like it'd be so selfish to make this other girl stay with me just because I was sad. Like she had been sad and that's why the relationship ended. So it becomes like this selfless thing of just like letting it go and letting somebody else be happy, even if that means without you. So, you know, it's a maturity thing and it does come with time. But if you're trying to look at it from a new perspective, I would say if you're going through a breakup and you were somebody who was broken up with, just ask yourself, do I really want to be with somebody who like doesn't really want to be with me? You should be with somebody who doesn't sit on the fence for you. You should be with somebody who like clearly jumps over the fence for you. And for me, that just wasn't the case. And when I realized that, I was okay with being alone. And then you find people who do come into your life who do clearly want to be with you and seemingly are wanting to keep you around. But that's just my perspective. Obviously, everyone will go through it differently.
I think every breakup is different.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, of course. And feel free to take your time, rely on your friends. But that's my perspective of it. Now, Faith will tell you her perspective of somebody who has done the breaking up part of it.
Yeah, so this is my like second serious relationship. My first boyfriend I dated for 2 years, and I was the one that broke up with him. But I think it's like, I think the first thing you have to realize is like, it's okay to be sad even if you're the one that made the decision to like break up. Like I broke up with him and I cried for days after because it's like, you had this like one person that was your person to go through like everything with, and then all of a sudden you don't have this person anymore. You're saying goodbye to their family. Like there's a lot that goes into a breakup. I think not just them, it's their family, their dog, their lifestyle, their friends. Like none of it will be the same after. So I think it's like you have to realize it's okay to be sad, and people like judge you for it. I think like when you're like oh, I broke up with this guy, I'm so sad. They're like,
you did it. Why are you sad?
Like you shouldn't have broken up with him then. It's like, well, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say about it except for like let yourself be sad, and also don't like, this is just more relationship advice than breakup advice, but like if you know you're not happy, don't like try to convince yourself that you're happy, because I did that for way too long. Like I said, we dated for 2 years, and I think after 6 months, I was pretty much like, I don't think this is a relationship that I want. And so a year and a half of being like, I don't know. Like if you're unhappy, you're unhappy. And you can't like try to force someone to change into the person that you want them to be, rather than like trying to change them into someone else that you want. Just try to like find the person that you actually like are supposed to be with, you know?
Yeah. And then, you know, eventually you do meet someone who sort of checks all your boxes.
Yeah. It took a while to like finally decide that I wanted to be done, I guess. But it was like, I don't want to sound bad, but it was a good decision.
Then she found me.
I did.
and it's been smooth sailing ever since.
Someone asked, are you friends with your exes? One of us is and one of us is not.
I'm pretty friendly with all of mine. There's a couple that it's not that we're unfriendly, they just don't talk to me.
I'm still blocked on everything.
So yeah, I've had like a few serious relationships, and for the most part, it's all well and dandy. But yeah, there's a couple who it's not, again, we're not unfriendly. It's just sort of you fall out of touch, and then it's been so long that it's just weird. Just be like, hey. So there's a couple that I don't really talk to, but I recommend it. I mean, if you can stay friendly, then it makes it less awkward if you see them personally. But
yeah, I think like I haven't seen mine since we broke up. Like, well, we like passed by each other. We drove by each other once. And I went. He didn't.
Super awkward.
Yeah, I tried to be like, hey, and he didn't.
But anyway, thank you for the question, and I really hope that if you are somebody who is struggling with this sort of thing, that you come out stronger on the other end of it. But here's hoping. But with that down, now we're going to move on to the live chat over here on the YouTube. So if you have a question or a comment that you want us to address, feel free to send it into the live chat, and we will begin. You might have to help me with reading some of these because my eyes are trash.
As a Broadway actor, vocal health is important. Can you talk a bit about vocal health, when to see a doctor, how to stay healthy, etc.?
Honestly, no, I can't, because I as a non-doctor, I don't know when the line is. I think you just got to listen to your own body. If you're singing and it hurts to sing, that's a red flag. Know. It shouldn't hurt to sing. If your voice is super hoarse, like for, I don't know, like a month, that seems strange. Like I would go get that checked out. Like you got to know what your normal is. Like right now, I feel very normal. If I woke up tomorrow and it hurt to sing, that's a red flag to me, because that's not normal. I know what it feels like to sing high and sing low, and I can sing a long time without it getting too tired. If any of that changes, okay, suddenly, oh my God, this isn't what I'm used to. Red flag. Let me investigate. And then once I start getting concerned, sure, then go get it checked out. There's a lot of people that will tell you about singing habits that are healthy and unhealthy. Like obviously belting's a big one. You don't want to be scream belting, skrelting, or whatever they call it all the time, because it'll hurt your voice for sure. So take it easy once in a while. This isn't to say you can't ever do that. Certainly when I was expanding my range, that's how I got it there, was just singing loud. So yeah. I'm not saying don't do it, but take it easy. Drink lots. I have this guy right here. Once again, sponsor me. So good. Keep yourself hydrated, and just don't overdo it.
When you were a triple cover and found out you had to go on, did you get more pumped or nervous?
Great question. Both. It depends on what it was. So the first time I ever went on for anything ever was in Toronto, and it was for Connor. That was the first thing I did. And that I was nervous just because, like, this is my professional debut. Oh, my God. But after I had done it once, then it was fine, because it's like, oh, I could do it. No problem. And then same thing with Jared. First time I went on with Jared, I was like, okay, this is scary. But I was less nervous because I had done Connor 5 times or something at that point. And so I handled that pretty well. The first time I went on as Evan, that was the most scared I've ever been, because it wasn't planned. It just sort of happened. And Sam Premack, who was the alternate on tour, had texted me in the morning and sent me this cryptic text message that just said, like, you should start warming up. And I just had this feeling. I had a feeling that morning before he texted me. I'm like, I feel like something's going to go down today. And then he sent me that text, and I just started panicking. And I was eating like donuts this morning. I know people like donuts for breakfast. Yeah, judge me. I was eating donuts for breakfast. I just started pounding them back. I was drinking Diet Pepsi, and I stopped immediately. I'm like, Kate, just water. I'm not going to eat any more of this. And it was terrifying. And then I got the confirmation call from my stage manager, like, you're on as Evan. It was a matinee. And then you just, it's hard to explain, but like professional brain zaps on, and you're like, okay, like there are people who are coming to see the show who have paid premium prices. So it's not time to get scared. Like, it's time to prepare so that they get their money's worth. because if you do a bad job, then they have a bad experience, and then they judge the show, and that's on me. So I just tried to like focus and get in the zone and warm up and take my time and breathe and just know like I had done so many rehearsals of it. Like I'd run through the show ample times. I knew it. It's just convincing yourself that you would survive. And I did survive. And it was in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee will always hold a special place in my heart now because of that.
When he went on as Evan for the first time, he told me when I was brushing my teeth in the morning, it was like early in the morning, and I was crying because I couldn't be there. I was like crying, but he was like, I was also sad because I was supposed to see his debut, but then it wasn't his debut. But it was still really cool.
She saw the second show.
I did, and the third.
And the third girl.
Yeah, girl.
Can you read another question for me?
I can't even find one. It's a thoughts on the fan account at David Jeffery fan. That's from Delilah.
Is that you? Is that you, Delilah?
It is.
Great account. Some really top-notch quality content.
Yeah, about checkered vans.
The focus of that account is super great. Highly recommend the account. Everybody go follow it. It's at, what was it again?
David Jeffery fan.
David Jeffery fan. I mean, there you go right there. Account of the decade.
How do I tell the difference with him being nice or flirting?
Ooh,
sorry.
By him, do you mean a guy or me?
A guy.
Oh, okay. It's a great question. Everyone's different, so it's hard because I can't really speak for somebody else. You have to kind of watch their body language. So like when people flirt, they'll do certain things, and when people are being nice, they'll do certain things. I would say if you tell a story that drags a little bit, how active are his listening skills? A guy that's just being nice, like if I was not into her at all and she was just talking about a story, okay, there's a stereotype here. I'm actually just going to make a TikTok about this. There's a stereotype about how men tell stories versus how women tell stories. How men will sort of, get to the point, and how women will, take the long road.
There are reasons.
Which is fine. Not judging. It's fine. But let's say you are somebody who takes the long road when telling a story. Watch to see how actively he's listening to you. And that'll tell you if he's flirting or just being nice. A guy who's flirting you're going to see the eye contact. You're going to see a lot of like smiles and enthusiastic nodding. If he's just being nice, you're going to see a lot of this. Like his eyes are going to be darting around or checking the time or something. Well, then they've fallen asleep. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. As a joke. Making me look bad.
You do it yourself.
I would say that's a good test. If you really want to know, start telling a story and see how actively engaged they are. I mean, there are other body language signs too, right? Like you hear about which way the feet are pointing. Are his feet pointing at you, or are they, a different way? If they're pointing at you, she's supposed to really, be into you. It also depends on the kind of niceness that we're talking here. Like if he's like, "Hey, you're really beautiful." Well, that's not being nice. Like that's a pretty flirty thing to say. I wouldn't just go up to anyone and just say, "Hey, you're beautiful," and be like, "Whoa, I'm just being nice." Like I wouldn't do that. Maybe some of you guys would, but not me. So I think the majority of guys probably wouldn't. So it depends on what he's saying. If it's just like
a winky emoji, that's pretty flirty.
A winky emoji? Oh, okay. That's pretty flirty, I would think. I don't think I would send a winky emoji to somebody because you would be scared that you would convey a flirty message. So I think at the very least, his interest is piqued. So if that's what you're going for, keep it up.
Lauren wants to know, like Lauren Johnson, if you would prefer being on the performance side or the directing side.
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
This is Lauren we know.
It is from Newsies.
Hi, Lauren. We know this Lauren. So for those of you who are like, why are they so nice to Lauren? It's because we know her. But okay, Lauren, great question. That's easy though. Performance. I'm not really into directing. I know a lot of like famous actors, thespians are like into directing and want to direct. Not me. I love storytelling. I love the notion of hearing a story and trying to bring it to life and make it real for somebody. Whether that's a funny story, a dramatic story, a boring story, it won't matter. I like storytelling. And the fact that you can do a good job and make someone feel something, even if it's a negative emotion, I think is very powerful. So if you do a show and somebody like walks out, you've made them feel something. And I think that's pretty cool. So I think ultimately I will always be a performer first. And not to say I would never want to direct, but I think performing will always be my first love.
I also would pick performing, but that's because I'm 100% a follower and not a leader, and I need to be told what to do.
This is true, girl.
I used to be embarrassed about that fact, but now I just own it.
She does.
Any tips for anybody scared to get into a relationship?
Yeah. I assume the implication here is that you've either never been in one or that you were hurt in one before and are like reluctant to get into it again. If we're talking about the second one, the latter, I would say don't let somebody else's mistakes punish like a future potential for yourself. Like if her previous boyfriend hurt her in some way and that made her reluctant to date me, that would suck because like I'm not that guy. So why do his mistakes have to like dictate what happens with me? Like that's not fair. No, that's not to say that's unfair of you.
You're allowed to have like a wall up, I think.
Yeah, it's just don't let somebody else who was maybe unfair to you or treated you poorly or just wasn't the one dictate what future potential there is with somebody else,
Yeah, you never know like really what you're going to like. That it could be like the person you're supposed to be with for the rest of your life and the person you're supposed to marry, and like you're just gonna keep yourself away from that. I think like even us, like we're the same person pretty much. Like my last boyfriend and I were so opposite, and now like dating him I feel like we're so like,
we're very similar.
Same. Yeah, like we feel the same about a lot of things, and it's like if I would have been too scared to try and date again, then I wouldn't have known that and wouldn't have been happy.
And you know what? I think this is again cliche, but communication. If you are scared or reluctant, you can communicate to that person. You could say, I was hurt before because of X, Y, and Z, and this is sort of a thing for me that's important, and I would really appreciate it if we could talk about this, or if you don't do these things, or if you do these things, or whatever the case may be. But communication is very important. Now, if it's the former thing, and it's just you've never had a relationship and the knowledge of what relationships are kind of scares you, I would say you can set the pace. You don't have, there's no timeline of things that you like have to accomplish by a certain, like timestamps. It's not like, oh, we've been dating for a month, we have to kiss now. Like if you want to take it slow, take it slow. If you just want to hold hands, hold hands. If you don't even want to hang out with that person, but you want to date them, okay.
Yeah, take it at whatever like pace you're ready to.
Don't let anybody tell you what speed to go at. And if they're rushing you into things, probably not the right fit. That's not good. That'd be a red flag. Would you agree?
It would, yeah. I mean, I was in grade 10, I think, but I dated someone for 6 or 7 months, and we held hands once, and he kissed my cheek once, and that was like the speed we wanted to go, and like no one judged us for it. It
is what it is.
Yeah.
So if you, whatever it is, whether you're just scared to take that leap, I say go for it because I think the pros outweigh the cons. But you can set the speed, you can set the pace. You have boundaries. That's fine. Most good people will respect your thoughts and feelings on those kind of things. So I say go for it.
You don't need them.
Yeah. As long as you like you don't need somebody else to validate that. But I mean, hey, there's a lot of pros to having somebody like that in your life. So it's pretty cool. We like literally have like the same color hoodie on. Not that yours is a hoodie, but we're like literally the same color.
We're the same.
That's funny. We didn't plan that. All right. What's the next question?
What was your favorite role to go on for when you were understudying for all Evan Connor entered?
Great question. And I'll be very specific. The funnest role was Jared. The least amount of stress was Connor. And the most rewarding was Evan. So they all had like some kind of thing to look forward to. I hate being stressed. I mean, I'm the only one that likes being stressed, but like,
People thrive on it sometimes.
I'm not one of those. I don't like feeling stressed. So when I was Connor, it was just, because I went on as Connor the most before I took over as Connor. I had gone on, I think, 20 times I had done Connor. So I was very familiar with Connor. So anytime it was like, it happened a lot where maybe 5 minutes before curtain, they would say, David, you're on. because whoever it was just didn't feel like doing it or was under the weather or whatever the case may be. And I wasn't even phased. I'm like, okay, I'll just go throw on the costume, no problem. For other roles, that would have been terrifying. Jared or Evan, to be told, like, you're on in 5 minutes. Whoa, like, I need to mentally prepare, didn't warm up. Oh, my God. So I like doing Connor for that reason. Jared, you get all the laughs. It's chill. The thing that scares me the most about performing is forgetting song lyrics. And Jared has the least amount of solo singing, so I like that. But obviously going on as Evan is so rewarding because when you're done, it's like, look what I just did. Like, I just did that. And then, of course, at the stage door, everyone goes nuts for whoever's playing Evan. So there's a very visceral, physical, I guess, selfish reward when you play Evan as well. So all those things balanced out. I like them all. They all have their pros. What is next?
Someone corrected your grammar. Most fun, not funnest.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I really think you know what he meant. Thoughts on rare David Jeffery clips? The TikTok.
It's cool. It's cool. I mean, some of them are old, so it's like, oh.
Okay. Also, want to point out because I saw someone else say it. Like, that's not just saying that he only likes David Jeffery fan or only likes like rare David Jeffery clips. Like, any page that is like a fan page for Dear Evan Hansen or him or us or whatever is like appreciated. Because some people seem to think that it's not, and that's sad because they're all super nice and kind and sweet and cute. And I don't know about him, I can't speak for him, but I love them all.
Yeah,
I follow all of them.
They're all very flattering and very surreal that it's something that anyone would want to do. Like, I feel like I'm not interesting enough to make an account about, but the fact that they exist is very flattering. So I do appreciate them, and thank you.
No, don't delete it. Don't delete it. It's 100%. It is fun and it's a good account, and you should keep posting cute things. Like a message, don't post cringy things.
Yeah.
Don't post anything that's like.
If I sound bad in it, then I'm like, please don't post that. But if it's just a normal clip, I don't care. It's all fun and good.
Yeah, don't delete it. David Jeffery fan page is great. Literally all of them. As I said, like, it's a blanket statement. Literally all of them are great. And if I ever see one created, I follow it instantly. And I'm like, yeah, I like all your stuff. Let me comment on everything.
If we see something that's like, yikes, we will find a way to get in touch and be like, please take that down. So if that hasn't happened, we either haven't seen it or you're okay. So for the most part, it's all well and good. Just nothing cringy is sort of our rule, right? Nothing cringy.
Like the rare David Jeffery clips or whatever it's called, was posting some newsies, and I was in one of them, and I was like, for dancing purposes.
Yeah, and there's some stuff where like bad notes and stuff. And so if somebody was posting that, and I'd be like, oh God, no, why?
But I don't think anything has been posted like that, really. None of me, anyways.
So what is thoughts on Nick Cush? Great guy.
That's
Great guy.
How do you manage facial hair?
In general or for the show? I mean, for the show, we have to like shave every day, or every other day, depending on the character that you play. I can get away with it a little bit more as Connor than I can as Evan. If you play Evan, it's like you have to shave every day.
Baby face.
As Connor, it's every other day is usually what I do, which I vastly prefer because my face does not like shaving every day. Particularly right here. Where are my fellow dudes at? This is the worst, right? Over the Adam's apple, like this part, you get all like I hate it. I hate it. Shaving is not my favorite thing in the world, but.
Do you have a David Jeffery fun fact?
A David Jeffery fun fact. I get asked this a lot, and it's like, I'm not that interesting. I don't really have a lot of fun facts about me.
What is your all-time favorite food?
Pizza.
There you go. David Jeffery fun fact.
David Jeffery fun fact. Pizza is my favorite food. And let's get controversial. We did this last time, but I'm going to say it. I like Hawaiian pizza. I think it's good. It's not my favorite pizza. I prefer other pizzas, but I like Hawaiian. I think it's good. I don't pick the pineapple off. So take that, internet. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know below.
Faith Countryman fun fact.
Oh, that's a good one. What's a fun fact about you?
Trying to think of something like embarrassing that everybody would know. In like all through like elementary school and up to like grade 8, I was a horse girl. I wore shirts with like I'd rather be riding in horseshoes, and I went for horse ride lessons and Stop.
no, it's fine. We ended up together, so.
Yeah, and I also would wear sweatpants and winter boots every single day in grade 7, and there are pictures of it. My family wanted to put me on What Not to Wear, the TV show.
Oh, God.
So.
But look at her now, right?
There's hope.
What's next?
Where are you right now? Canada?
Yes. We're in Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada, which, for my American friends who don't know where that is above Montana. So that's kind of about the time zone that we're in. I believe it's Mountain Time. Is that where we are? Mountain Time. It's 7:05 p.m. here currently. And if you're watching this after the fact, that won't mean anything to you. But let's just say it's kind of like evening. I guess, yeah, 7's evening. It's like, but it's not dark out yet. It gets dark here at about like 8:30. So we got like an hour and a half left of light.
One could say there's Faith. Name puns are my favorite.
Yeah, she doesn't like those. You know, I've made a few of those in my day, and they don't go over well.
No, the very first one, he just told me to have faith in myself. I was like,
yeah, she didn't like that.
They don't actually bother me. I think it's fun. Like, everybody assumes they're the first person to ever say that. Like, have faith in yourself. I'm like, original.
Yeah, it's fun. She's fun.
It's funny. Being an understudy sounds super stressful. What were your ways around that or advice to others?
Great question. Who asked that? Claire. Oh, is it Claire? Claire asked great questions, Claire. Claire comes up clutch. Okay. Yes. So here's the thing about being an understudy. I could talk about this for a long time. Understudy life, when you don't know, was shocking to me. I'd never been an understudy prior to Jeffery in Toronto. And like 90% of what you do when you start is take notes. And all throughout school, I was awful at taking notes. Literally, like, my penmanship is trash. If you're somebody who's received a letter from me, you'll know this. I can't write well to save my life. And it's a lot of paying attention. And so my thought process was, okay, I'm covering 3 roles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit at my little desk, and all I'm going to do is take ample notes about all 3 characters. And so I had to watch, like, imagine waving through a window, you know, all the choreography of everybody walking around. Like, I had to watch Jared, Evan, and Connor and take notes about it. So I'm like trying to write how they walk and like walking patterns, all while thinking I have to remember this, because if they call upon me, the expectation is that you can jump in like that. And if you don't, you kind of, I don't want to say get in trouble, but you get a stern talking to. So I'm trying to sit there watching all these 3 people run around waving through a window, because that's the first thing you block in Jeffery Hansen. And as I'm writing this down, it's like this overwhelming sense of how am I supposed to focus on all 3 of these? Because if you've seen Waving Through a Window, and I showed Jeffery Hansen, the traffic is literally like it's impossible to follow. And so I was very overwhelmed by it. My notes were terrible. And when I had to get up there to do it, it did not go well. And I did get a couple of stern talking tos. And eventually what saved me was focus at one character at a time. And so I focused on Connor, and then I focused on Jared, and then I focused on Evan. They dictated that line for me, not me. And it made it a lot easier, because then it was like, here's the deadline. You have to know all of Connor by this day. And so we started with like the dialogue. I got all the words down, and then we started with the blocking, and then we started with the singing, and it all came together much easier that way. That being said, it was still intimidating, knowing that you had to remember all 3 of these things. And it gets confusing in something like Sincerely Me, which, again, for people who don't know, that's a song on Jeffery Hansen. When the 3 characters that I cover are the 3 characters in that song. So it's like there's a whole dance to it, and you have to remember, okay, who kicks with this foot, who sings what harmony. It's a lot to keep in your head. But what I find is it kind of feels like 3 separate shows, and it's not as confusing as you think. So if you ever are in the position where you get cast as an understudy professionally, you will feel this daunting intimidation. But tell yourself that eventually, I promise you, because Lord knows, if somebody with no experience can do it, you can too. And I had to do for 3 characters, all of which who have like a decent amount of material. So just know it'll eventually feel like totally different shows, and they become like compartmentalized in your brain.
How often do you just randomly burst out into song?
All the time. Oh God, like literally always.
Enough that I know his little bits.
Yeah.
I
I mean, Alessandro, who plays Jared on tour, helped with a lot of that too, because he gave me a lot of new jingles. But I do it all the time, constantly.
all the time. Someone wants to know when we met. 2018.
2018, girl.
Like March or April, I think, 2018 we met.
Long time ago. Well, not that long ago, I guess.
Favorite lesser known musical?
Bear. We talk about Bear all the time. Anytime we go live.
Oh, it's so good.
But for those of you who don't know Bear, a pop opera, how would you describe it? What would be your quick Cole's Notes version of Bear? For people who are like, let's say you were somebody watching this, whether live or after the fact, you're like, what is this Bear? Like,
see, I'm really bad at explaining things because I just give everything away.
That's well, okay.
I like sell everything that happens. So
let the master.
Why
do
don't you
work.
do that
Here,
then?
we'll try. This is very like improv off the top of my head. Bear, again, B-A-R-E, not the animal. Bear is about a Catholic school
of sadness.
Yeah, exactly, Zoe. Yes, a Catholic school. Two boys it centers on who are secretly dating at the start of the show, and it's sort of about their relationship and how being in a same-sex relationship in a Catholic school is obviously, because it'd be frowned upon in Catholic school, and it's what that does on a personal level, and obviously how that affects like people in your life who are into it and who are against it, and it just looks at like all the elements of it, and it's very, very moving.
So good.
So it's sad. So if you're like, if something in your life is already making you sad, maybe don't listen to it.
See, but I'm the opposite. Sometimes you just need a good cry. Listen to it, but you have to listen to it like all the way through.
Yeah. It's like sung through, so it's very easy to follow. It's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. Listen to it. Starts with a song called Epiphany. Ends with a song called No Voice.
No Voice.
Give it a
so
listen.
Good.
Highly recommend it.
After I listened to it all through the first time, I couldn't listen to No Voice without just being like, as soon as like, dear Jason.
Does it have a good soundtrack? Yes. Mm-hmm. The cast recording is phenomenal. Matt Doyle. See, a lot of people. Okay, so like Michael Arden was the original Peter, but like I got to give it up to Matt Doyle. His version of Peter in that soundtrack is so good, in my opinion. It's all subjective, but in my opinion.
What's your favorite musical? Bear. Bear is mine.
Wow, look at that. I'm so stressed, so I'm gonna need a good cry soon.
Literally me all the time. Also, you could watch Ghost because I was sobbing. I cried like several times through it, and he was like, "You're gonna cry." I was like, "Probably."
Keep my disclaimer. Yeah, she'd never seen the movie, so she didn't know it was coming.
No, so I had like, I mean, also I cry over everything. Someone could just tell me I look pretty one day, and I'd be like, "Thank you so much. I really needed that today." And I don't know. If you want a good cry, you could also watch that.
David, did you finish One of Us Is Lying? I have not finished it yet. I'm about halfway through. I'm like perpetually getting worse at reading as I age. I'm somebody who like here's the thing. I love the notion, the idea of reading, and when I see somebody else reading, I'm like extremely envious, and I love the lifestyle that comes with reading, and like that feeling once you finish a book is like, I love it's like a sense of accomplishment. If other people have read it, you can talk about it. I love it. But when I'm reading, I'm so bad because like my brain doesn't process the line right away. I have to like keep rereading it, and I'm so bad. But I'm about halfway through, and it's good. I have a prediction about how it will end, and if it ends the way I'm predicting, I will be a little disappointed because I hate when things are kind of obvious. So I'm hopeful it doesn't end the way that I'm thinking it will. But if it doesn't, then I will like it because it's cool. It's a good book so far.
Okay, but I need your prediction.
DM me and I'll send you my prediction. I'll send you my prediction because I don't want to spoil it for anybody else who might read.
What's a movie or book you'd love to see as a musical on Broadway?
Musical or book I'd love to see on Broadway. Movie, musical or book? Let's see. Does anything pop to your mind?
I don't know.
I'm really open to like any movie that I'm aware of becoming a musical. Like I wouldn't be like, oh no, you can't do that. So anything that I've actually seen, I think would be great. Like my favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption and Titanic. Titanic's already a musical, but if Shawshank Redemption was a musical, I'd go see that. I don't know how. It'd be a really strange musical.
Star Wars
But-
as a musical.
Star Wars. Star Wars is my life. I feel like a Star Wars musical would be very cheesy and like become a parody in and of itself. But no, nothing springs to mind. I don't know. Does anything come to mind for you guys watching this? Just anything? But God, I love Star Wars. Star Wars to me is the people who now, if you're somebody who you watched Star Wars and you're like, I wasn't a big fan, that's fine, great. Then we have no problems. What I don't like is when people judge Star Wars and they've not seen it at all. Or they'll be like, no, I wouldn't like that. Because you know who was like that? That one over there, Faith. She's got enough. But she was.
I didn't think I'd like it, so I refused to watch.
She refused to watch and didn't think she would like it, but I made her watch all of them. And I don't know. How do you describe Star Wars? What were your thoughts on Star Wars?
I really liked it, and I've watched several of the movies several times.
And here's the thing. Are you saying that just because you know that I like them?
No, I am not. I've tried to make my family watch them, and my one coworker watch them because she thinks that, like, I've talked about it, and she said she sounds like she liked it. I'm like, you have to watch it. You have to watch it and tell me. And I sent me the order of them that I need to watch them in because we were like distance for a bit, so I would like watch them alone.
Oh, and so good.
I sent them to my friend in the same order and was like, this you have to watch them all.
See, because here's the thing. I'm not saying, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I'm not saying Star Wars are like the best movies of all time. They're not like, oh my God. Like to me, again, Shawshank is the best movie. Star Wars though is my favorite thing because as a franchise, there's so much there. And like, I love a good mystery. I love not knowing what's going to happen. And you just never know what's going to happen. And I mean, some of the older movies, even if you've not seen, like everyone, I don't want to spoil it, but if you're somebody who's never seen Star Wars and I were to say to you, what's one line from Star Wars? Do you know any line? We're all going to say the same thing, right? So you know that, and that's like the big twist. So maybe that's ruined, but everything else is like, some movies are better than others, certainly. And there's particularly episode 1, 2, and 3 get a lot of hate from some people. I still like them. There's a lot of CGI, but if you can get past CGI, I love them. I could talk Star Wars all day.
Yeah, I didn't think I would like them at all, and I'm really into them and Kylo Ren.
It's a trap. It's Kylo Ren. Adam Driver again, guys. If you like Adam Driver, he's so good.
I think he's the only person we like fangirl about together.
I would love to meet Adam Driver. I think I just actually watched yesterday one of my movies on a list. So I have this list of movies that I'm trying to watch for the end of the year. One of which was this movie called Logan Lucky, which he's in. I love Adam Driver. I would love to meet him, but Adam Driver as Kylo Ren / Ben Solo is so good. He's so good. And I feel like I'm just a kid at heart. And I went out and you better believe I got that Kylo Ren lightsaber. And I walk around and I light it just like he does. I like the bad guys though. I've always liked the bad. You know, because it's because I'm a bit of a bad boy myself, actually. So tell your friends, be like David Jeffery. He's a bit of a bad boy.
Actually, he's just like super respectful and nice.
Let's spread that around. I'll be like David Jeffery, aka bad boy.
Someone wants to get a Star Wars tattoo. Do it.
What do you want to get? What do you want to get?
You should do it.
I'd be curious to know what you'd want to get.
Maybe like a quote or like a lightsaber or something.
Broadway Girl just dropping spoilers, but yes, so did I. I won't address it in case somebody watching this doesn't want to be spoiled. But yes, David Bad Boy Jeffrey. Yeah, spread that around. I'd love for people to be like, he's such a bad boy. I think it's because like I've never been cool. Like my whole life, no one's ever been like, he's so cool. In part because of the way that I look, but also just my personality. Like no one is ever like, wow, that David Jeffrey guy. Right. So it's like if I was a bad boy, maybe people would think I was a little cooler.
Ollie, I'm sorry, that's really sad, but you should definitely do it because I have tattoos that are honoring people, and if you can like combine two things you love, you should definitely do it. I did that. I have a tattoo honoring someone on my ribs, and I have like song lyrics from a song that I really like under it.
David is such a human teddy bear. Also, David, I'm such a bad boy. Yeah, let's spread it around. I'd love
he's
to.
A teddy bear.
No, I'd love to try and.
Do you see his
work
like,
on my
language? He is not having this hug.
No, of course I am. I'm unhappy because Colorado just scored There's the hockey games on. If you see us looking up here, we're watching hockey. I'm cheering for Dallas right now against Colorado, not to win the Stanley Cup. I like when the underdog wins. And I would say Colorado's a much better team than Dallas. Sorry for all the people of those teams who I may have upset by that, but
Have you read The Fault in Our Stars?
yes, great book, pretty good movie too.
I saw the movie in theaters when it first came out, and I went with my friends. And I am not like I don't just cry silently. So my friends all like looked down at me. I was like,
Ooh, child, yeah,
it was bad.
it's bad.
Well, good movie, bad crying.
Isn't it
Epiphany,
question?
and I love it already. Okay,
Yes.
Wait till you get to like the last. I don't know. My favorite bit of it is after All Grown Up till the very end. It's like, oh, every song is just a banger. It's all so good.
Really sad show. And fun fact, I was in Bear once upon a time.
I was not.
So maybe, I was gonna say maybe, because all these clips of me in various shows are popping up, maybe we'll see a little Bear clip at some point. Probably
is it anywhere
not.
though?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
We'll have to see.
You're in Bear.
I was
like community theater.
Once upon a time. Once upon a time.
You have some. How do you have some? You should post them.
Clips of me in Bear?
How do you have them?
How? Did we do a news thing for it? Maybe that's where it was. I can't remember if we did like a news clip. I'd be very curious where people are getting this from though.
Oh, just interviews.
Oh, just interviews. Okay. It's like I think we probably did interviews for him, but can I do the Jared laugh? No. Everyone was asking me to do the Jared laugh. I can't because it's bad. So all that would happen is people would be like, "Yep, that was not great," and then I'd feel embarrassed.
Who did you play in Bear?
Oh, I played Peter, aka the best character in the show.
Be Ivy.
How's Vladimir?
Funny.
Vladimir, very good. Thank you. He love all beautiful ladies of world. He think he is very respectful, and he wish you have a very excellent day. Thank you.
Laura. Laura said, I get a lot of photos from David's mom.
Yeah, that's another thing. Please, for people, please. I have to talk to my mom. Please don't ask my mom for pictures. Please don't do that. It's mostly on her. Like, she is my mom. So, if you're going to ask somebody, I guess you can ask her. But, like, because I know eventually she's going to send out really embarrassing stuff. And I'm trying to get ahead of it before that happens. Can you read that one?
In a series of unfortunate events, do you think Count Olaf is kind of a victim? I was trying
in the last book, certainly it tweaks your perception of him. I don't know. I spent the whole series when I was reading those books being like, how is everyone so dumb? Like all these adults, literally the three triplets are like, guys, it's Count Olaf. And everyone's like, no, it's not him, you silly kids. And you're like, oh my God, listen to the kids. And no one wants to. And then in the last book, it messes you with your perception a bit. No spoilers. No worries. No spoilers. But I don't know. Maybe a little bit. It's conflicting. I'll put it that way. But have you watched Shaun of the Dead? No, I have not. I've heard it's good though. Do you like Drake and Josh? I've actually never seen. That was a show I never actually ended up watching.
I liked it.
I like Recess. I liked Rugrats.
Do you like The Office?
Yeah, I like The Office. Who doesn't like The Office?
I really like The Office. It's like almost, I don't know if the word is that I'm looking for, like nostalgic. I don't know, but I watched it when him and I were first like dating, and now every time I hear it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's a great show. A lot of funny moments. The Dead Dinner Party episode. I die with the TV right into the wall. Like that.
That one's so cringy though.
But that's what makes it so good.
Yeah, but honestly,
cringe.
some of it is so cringy that I have to like like
So
the one where he was gonna give money to all the kids but for school. Tots something.
Oh yeah, Scott's Tots. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. That's so uncomfortable.
That one's so cringy that I have to like not watch it.
What you can do, make a dream come true. Great episode, but very cringy. Speaking of television, let me also take this moment that I say in every live. Please watch Lost. Please watch Lost.
Some people have.
Yeah, a few people have reached out saying that they started watching Lost, and I appreciate those people the most. No, I'm kidding, but I do appreciate them because it gives me more opportunity to talk about Lost.
Listen to David.
Yeah. Yes, Laura. Please listen to David. A lot of people, maybe, and please don't write spoilers in the chat. Please, please, please don't do that.
Yeah, no one spoil anything because that's
please don't do that.
wrecks it and it's lame.
But if you're somebody who you think maybe you've heard a spoiler, that's okay. The show's still going to be good. A lot of people misunderstand the ending. And if that's turned you off because you've heard what the end, I promise, I'm like 95% sure that you've heard an incorrect statement.
Yeah, my mom
ending.
spoiled it for me this morning. Probably not. She probably got it wrong.
Yeah, she might have gotten it wrong. A lot of people do. And if you're unsure, Zoe, shoot me a message and I'll confirm or deny whether your mom was correct. Because a lot of people think, oh, this is what happened, but no, they've misunderstood it. Because it's one of those endings that's not like stated black and white. It's an implication, but to me, it's very much like clear what it is, what the implication is. And a lot of people think, oh, it's that. No, they're wrong. But please watch it. I promise it will be worth the 6 seasons. It's so good. The characters are so good. And I feel like I'll end this episode by preaching to everyone to watch Lost. Please and thank you. And then next week, we can talk about Lost. And it can be a small part of this. Every week I'll be like, hey, how's everyone's
episode of every
watching?
season by next week.
Yeah, please watch 6 seasons of content by next week. That's your homework. I know, class, school.
Sponsor David.
Yeah, well, if it was still going, I wish I could have been on that show.
Don't spoil anything.
Are people spoiling stuff? Oh yeah, please, no spoilers. No spoilers, everybody. But anyway, that concludes today's episode of Entertainment Talk, Dishing with David. We will be back again next Wednesday, probably at the same time. I usually like to announce it on TikTok. I'll post a TikTok and say like, oh, this is what time it's going to be at, but it'll probably be same day, same time. For those of you who don't know, you can follow me on Instagram at David_Jeffery and at TikTok at the David Jeffery. And what are your social media handles?
Instagram is Faith Countryman and TikTok is faith.countryman.
Follow us if you haven't already. And if you're watching this after fact, please leave a comment below about any of the topics today. But if you have a topic for next week that you want addressed as one of the main topics, that's where I like to get them from. Leave a topic and we'll pick some of those. And again, you can use the Stream Elements link at any time, 24/7, and it will be addressed guaranteed on one of our live streams. But thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. And until next time, see you later. Bye.